Now, as Emily Post has said, bread is like dresses, hats and shoes. In other words, it's essential. And I've got a recipe for you. It's a chocolate bread recipe that I want to put on late on in the evening so that in the morning it's warm and hot and ready to take up to your loved one in bed. Now, first of all, what I need to do is start to weigh out some basic ingredients. Bread always pretty much needs yeast. So I'm going to put in, for this recipe, 3/4. You have to be quite specific with yeast because it is quite powerful. 3/4 of a teaspoon of yeast. Now, to that, I'm going to add flour. And what I do is I take out my baking tin, put it on here, so they get my sort of ingredients down to 0 on my readout. So now it becomes very, very easy to do this. I'm going to add strong white flour, which you always need for bread. And I'm going to be putting into this some amazing chocolate. I've got some Bourneville chocolate, very, very strong chocolate that I'm going to put into it. And then I've got these lovely little chocolatey pieces too, which I'm just going to sort of drop into it as it's mixing. And what's great about these machines is that it tells you and actually allows itself to put the chocolate in when it's ready. It's got a sort of program that lets the chocolate fall in when it's needed, because you don't really want to put the chocolate in before the raising agents have kicked in. That's 400 grams of flour, and then to that I'm going to add one of the perfect things which marries brilliantly with chocolate, and that's orange. And there's 2 ways of getting good orange flavour into your bread. The first is zest. Now I'm going to zest an orange. You can see the zest running off this, and already the orange flavour is really kicking in. Now what I'm doing with the zest is I'm not taking it to the pith, I'm just taking the zest off. So try and get yourself a decent zester. Try not to have any of the white pith, that makes everything a little bit too bitter. So there's the orange. Perfect. Right, then I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of salt and 1 teaspoon of sugar. I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of cocoa powder, and a nice rich cocoa powder in there. I'm just going to put a little bit in there for luck, who knows. And the butter goes in here. Perfect. Now, what I need to do is I need to juice this orange now. So, in order to do that, I use one of the most old-fashioned tools, and that's my hands. I'll just juice that in there. Get in there. Lovely. Now I want to get this up to about 270 ml. Yeah. Beautiful. Right. Now I'm going to top the rest up. You can see that with water. 270, where am I? 260, 280, one in the middle. There we go. Right. Now that goes in the top. Now, the great thing about these Panasonic machines is that they have a raisin and a nut dispenser, which actually dispenses more than raisins and nuts, because I'm going to get them to dispense my chocolate. I've got these wonderful, look at these little nuggets of chocolate that I'm going to put in. I need 200 grams of that. So if I close this up, but then open the top, and you haven't seen this yet, there's a dispenser here, which I'm going to put 200 grams of chocolate onto. Now, if I just get this onto let's just get 200 there. Let's just put all that chocolate onto here. At the perfect time, and when the bread needs it, because there's going to be some raising going on inside here with this yeast, that chocolate will fall in. Now, you could break the chocolate up if you want into little pieces, but I love big, thick chunks of chocolate running through it. It's almost going to be sort of, when you cut it, there'll be sort of a bit of chocolate oozing out. That's what I like. Okay, perfect. Now what I want to do is I want to have this ready for tomorrow morning to take up to the wife when she's waking up, with a cup of coffee. So if I select this, bake it, and go on to the raisin selection, but I also want to put the timer on. Now if I set the timer, it's going to be, I want bread at 8:30, so if I 4:30 in the morning, perfect.